This surf forecast update brought to you by Whitey's Fish Camp, County Road 220, located on Swimming Pen Creek. Saturday, June 29th, Wakeboard Rail Jam. Contest begins at 11 a.m. Plan on attending by boat. You may want to get there early as boat slips look to be limited. Remember, lots of Marine Patrol in the water, so slow as you go will be in effect. Manatee zones on both sides of the cut. Come out and enjoy some fun Saturday, June 29th, Whitey's Fish Camp. Here's a look at the latest GFS model forecast, and as we mentioned, we're going to be monitoring this tropical wave now that is just east of the islands in here and northeast of the South American coastline. This tropical wave is going to be moving off towards the west and northwest over the next couple of days, taking you into Tuesday and into Wednesday now. You can see that this tropical wave is now moving just to the south of Puerto Rico towards the island of Hispaniola. As we move further into the forecast on Thursday, this northern extension of this tropical wave will be moving through the island. And a lot of times this year, as these tropical waves move through and you're monitoring the northern extension of the wave, you have to wait for it to pop out on the other side of Hispaniola. Hispaniola is notoriably known as a storm killer because of the high mountainous terrain of the island. It can disrupt any circulation or any wind flows. So there's been many hurricanes that have come through here and crossed over the island of Hispaniola and just be reduced to a tropical depression or a tropical storm. So we'll have to wait to see what happens there as we move through going into the weekend. As you can see, it does start to move that northern extension in here a little bit further off the coast and into the southern Bahama chain. Now, the southern extension of the wave is going to get in here to the southwest Caribbean, and we may see exactly what happened last time with Barry, something trying to form up in here in the Gulf of Honduras, but because of the way high pressure is now set up in the Atlantic, it's going to continue to push whatever may develop that way, possibly into the Bay of Campeche and then into Mexico. As we advance a little bit further, deeper into the weekend, again, here you can see the GFS is trying to develop an area of low pressure in here off Nicaragua and Central America, and we advance into Sunday and Monday, and as you can see, this flow now pushing off towards the west. Really nothing happening in here in the southern Bahamas except for the high pressure gradient is going to increase in here along the eastern U.S. coast. There's going to be a lot of southerly flow pointed up towards New York and Rhode Island, up in here towards the northeast. You can now see that back over here towards Africa, we do get some lower pressures now moving off the coast in here, but as we move through time, you can see that it just basically gets squashed out. Moving you off towards the west, towards Central America, you can see that the intertropical convergence zone is firing up in here this morning. And then over in the East Pacific, we now have a newly named tropical storm. So things are firing up in here, and it's in an area that we could be monitoring here for the next couple of days, as environmental conditions could be somewhat more favorable over the next 72 hours or so. Moving you a little bit closer to home, we're still expecting a little bit of a southeast surge possibly this afternoon into tomorrow. As you can see, we've got some counterclockwise rotation in here, and the movement is off out of the southeast towards the northwest in here. This is going to start to get drawn out with a more southerly flow, but we're expecting some of this energy to start working in here this afternoon and possibly increasing the surf going into possibly tomorrow morning. The surf forecast for northeast Florida has basically been a bust, as the swell forecast models were anticipating a little bit higher wave energy coming in here behind this tropical wave that passed through yesterday. And our last look over here at the Gulf of Mexico, and we have absolutely nothing going on. We've got some 3 to 4 foot wind swell chop over here in the northwest Gulf of Mexico. Basically, nothing in the forecast for increasing surf unless we get into next week and we get something that will move in here out of the southwest Caribbean in towards the Gulf of Mexico. So that's it for now, guys. Stay tuned to the forecast.